Hi, this is Laurie Speltz, the Creative Coach, and welcome to my studio. Today I want to introduce you to these new home decor stamps from Stampendous. These stamps are great in that they will cover large areas with design in one fall swoop. And you've got these measuring 8 by 8, which is absolutely wonderful. They've come in 5 different styles. I've got snowflakes, music, there's leaves. This one is called Dream and has all kinds of sayings, and this one is called Script. They also have an 8.5 by 8.5 handle available, and the handle is what you put your stamp on to handle it better. Get it? Handle? So what I want to do today is I want to show you some pieces that I've already done using the stamps. And then I'll show you how to use them and how much you're going to want these in your studio. These are some new pieces that were out of my last book, and if you can see in the background, I've got this beautiful snowflake worked on the grooves, okay? And I could do all of my backgrounds first, and then over the top of it, then I put my snowflake. Now, you notice that I said that the snowflake is 8 by 8. So just a quick walkthrough, you can see that the stamp only measures for part of this. So then I would have to repeat the design below, which is very easy to do. And I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. So you can see what area I can cover quickly. Super miraculous. Then on the outside of this I used the Toxic stamp and used 2 colors of that, and it works out really great. If you haven't used stamps, stamps are a way for us to get detail. I can't get this kind of detail using my stencils, but I can get that detail here using the stamps, and it's just an added tool. And then we add our hand-painted creations to that. It's just another layer that we can put on there. Another piece that I did for my last book is the Season's Greetings. And in the Season's Greetings, same thing. You see how the back is done? So, again, you'd put the stamp down once, and then I'd stamp again. Now there's an easy way to do that, and I'll be sharing that with you here real quickly. And then I've got a couple other sample pieces that we did. This was a piece, let me get just a little tighter here. And this was just using our music. And I just did some multicolored backgrounds prior to my stamping right over the top. Now I want you to look at this. This is real close to what we've been doing with the decoupage. And wouldn't it be nice not to have to take the step to do the decoupage and to be able to do this right on top of our pieces and get the same kind of look? It's quick, it's easy for crafters, would save tons of time and money because of the materials involved. Here's another piece I did just in earth tones, and again, just a real subtle look. This is just with one color. It's just with soft black right over the top. Quick, easy, and literally one-stop shopping, because when I did this, it's one time over and my background's done. So I spend my time on my washes in the background, and this is a multicolored washes. Started with some Canyon Orange and then came in with my various colors on top of it, but then came back and one-stop shopping then on my overlay. Here's another project that is coming up that I am teaching at some different events. And this one has the background basically created and a border created by just putting down that snowflake. So in an 8 by 8 on a board like this, I was able to create an area that then provided me with a ready-made border to put my other pieces on. So really a kind of a fun design element that can be used to basically take an area and emphasize it, and then add all of your additional pieces to that as far as your characters and that kind of thing. And then one more. This one, if you look real closely, I'm going to come in just a little tighter. This one has the script in the background, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying, wouldn't it be nice not to have to do the decoupage? And I've got just a really nice look back here. So this started as a plain white board. I came back through and added my colors to the back, and then I was able to stamp one-stop shopping. I actually went, I think, twice on this one. So I went once and then lined it up and went a second time there. And again, the seam doesn't show because you've got other elements on it, and we'll go through how to do that. So let's show you how to use these. This is the 8x8 leaf stamp, and this is the acrylic handle. Now the acrylic handle is really nice because I say that this is what lets you drive this thing, and it gives stability to the stamp. So normally the stamp is very flexible, and that's a good thing. Okay, it's got the flex to it, but when we put a hard back to it, it allows us to get a much better print than we normally would if we just had it the other way. And now I can direct this whichever way I want to go as far as placement. It lets me hover a little bit. I have some stability. These are very good for not only this but also our smaller stamps, because if you were using smaller stamps, you just put multiple stamps onto this and you can use that as well. Once I have this onto the handle, now you don't have to use a handle, but I recommend it because it does give you stability. The next thing you have to do is then load the stamp. And the stamp, if you notice on here, it has all of these raised areas, and that's where you want to keep your paint. And so as I'm working this, okay, I'm going to just load paint onto those raised areas as much as I can. And I'm going to use a sponge in order to put the paint on. Now you can also use stamps with ink, but as painters we like to use paint, so why not use it? So we're going to use paint, and using the, I call them a mushroom sponge, to put it on. You can also use other accessories to do this. I find this the easiest. I also use the Tim Holtz sponge applicators sometimes, but this is a smaller area, so look at what I can cover with this versus this, and that's why I prefer that on these home decor stamps. The other thing is a cosmetic sponge, and a cosmetic sponge is great, except again, small area of application. You can do it, it's just your coverage maybe won't be as nice as some other, you know, some other application with the sponge. So I dampen my sponge, and I'm going to get all that water back out. I don't want a lot of water, so I take and I squeeze it all out so I don't have any real water. I just want it wet enough that I have some moisture in there. And you know, it's going to retain more moisture than you think it is. And then on a palette, I'm just going to pounce a little bit, and then I'm going to pounce excess off. I don't want shiny paint onto the sponge. It needs to look pretty much flat. And then I'm going to start pouncing right onto my stamp here. And you may need more, so you just go back to your palette. But the key to success here is that you want to keep your paint up on those raised areas. And so as I'm working across and I'm pouncing, I want to make sure that I'm not overworking it so that it goes down into the crevices. If it does, you're just going to have messy stamp when you're done. And then I do just a quick once around, but you can tell where that paint has gone. Now I'm going to go and place it over here. Now you can sit or you can stand. Some people like to stand because they can judge this better. And you know, a lot of people think, oh, I just push. Well, that doesn't give you enough. I like to use my fist, and I go just across the stamp, so I know that I've gotten a good coverage of pressure onto the stamp. And then I lift it, and voila, I have a nice little pattern going. Now I'm going to let that dry. And then when I come back, I'm going to restamp this side as well. Now to make sure that when I do my second stamp that I don't get a lot of excess back over on an overlap so that that line, you know, looks really, really obvious, I like to put a little piece of tissue paper over the area that I've already stamped. That's why it had to dry. And I don't necessarily want to use masking tape, you know, all the way down there, because if I do, I could take the risk of, you know, pulling everything up. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to stamp again. So I'm going to reload my stamp. And again, you just want to make sure you get all the way around it and just be very cognizant of, you know, what part of the stamp you've gone over, and then just make sure that you just go over the whole thing one last time. And then come back over, and now I'm going to place my stamp. Now I flip my stamp so that I'm not necessarily the exact same pattern, and then I'm going to just use my fist again. And if I was using a smaller handle, sometimes you don't have the room to do this, but with this big handle, it is so great to be able to do this and just get a nice print out of that. So when I lift this up, we don't have a whole lot of overlap, and it does blend together. I got a little bit darker there. When it dries, it should be okay. You can also tap just out just a little bit, and you can take just a little bit back off if you need to. Just don't rub, you tap just straight up and down, and that would take some of that off there. To clean this up, it's quick and easy. You take it to the sink, and when you're at the sink, I like to use a real nice little scrub brush and basically water. I even use a little bit of brush cleaner sometimes. You can use alcohol if you have difficult areas to do that. Just don't soak them in that. You just want to let it sit for just a little bit and then go ahead and clean those up. They clean up really nicely. And the main thing is you're trying to keep all of your raised areas as clean as you can so that it's ready to stamp then the next time. The next one I'm going to show you is the snowflakes. And with the snowflakes, I just want to show how to create that border, because I think this is an interesting concept, and can think of all the things that you could do is just create a simple background, and if your board was bigger, you've created a border for wording, your favorite message, your favorite symbols, a border, florals, you name it, it can be done. And you can see on this how the white, you can see exactly where you've stamped. You just try to get an evenness about it, and then like I said, I try to go across it one more time. And this time I'm going to hover, and I'm going to go for the middle, and I'm just going to get my corners here. Try to make sure that I'm somewhat level. And I'm going to come up just a tidge. There we go. And again, the nice fist. And my whole board went that time, but you notice that the stamp stayed in place, which was really a good thing for me. And then I just finished off with just one nice area that's all ready to roll for me with a nice border going around. So a really, really neat thing, and think of all the different things you could do using these. In this last example, this is how you can use the large handles, which I think just are great, and put multiple stamps on them so that you could do multiple. Let's say you had a bunch of these to do for craft shows, and I wanted to do that same exact background on every one of them. All I'd have to do is set my stamps up, they're ready to roll, and keep re-inking basically my stamp so that I could go ahead and stamp that multiple times, and it would be in the exact same position. I would not have to worry about repositioning each and every one of those. Plus, it's a little easier to get the paint on here with the multiples, because you've got a larger area, so I can use my bigger stamp or my bigger foam. And we're gonna just go ahead and put this right down. And again, because it's big enough, I can put my fist down on it. Now you don't want to overdo it and get too much, and you don't want to let it rock. But look at that beautiful detail that you're able to get with those stamps. And this is with paint. It's gonna go with everything that we do. If I wanted to do, again, just an area, I could just come up and just hit an area if I wanted to, just singly with a stamp. To clean the stamp one more time, I would take this, and if I had baby wipes, I would go ahead and use baby wipes and go ahead and just wipe off as much as I could off of the area, and then go back to the sink when you have a chance and get everything else cleaned up by using a good old little scrub brush. You can use a toothbrush. Lots of different things you could use. Everybody's found their favorite for cleaning stamps now. So that's basically it. You want to make sure that your handle stays clean, your stamps stay clean. If they stop and they're not adhering anymore, clean the back of them. They're probably dirty. And you know, they work just like clings. Okay, so you just have to make them be clingable again. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the little tutorial on the home decor stamps. I think they're great. I've got lots of good uses for them coming up, and you can find your own uses for them. I hope you enjoyed the little video. This is Laurie Speltz, the Creative Coach. Have a great day.